What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great day today. It's your boy DC, and we are doing a Baldur's Gate 3 Longbow tier list. I've seen all sorts of vids of people doing rankings for their companions, for the multi-classes, for the classes in general, probably for the cheeses too. I don't know. So I figured, why don't I just jump on that bandwagon and start giving my personal opinion on some of the weapons. It's D&D. We all love weapons. So let's get into the criteria. I wanted to do this as blank sheet of paper as possible, so pretty much any build, any character can pick up the weapons and start using them. Now granted, I am going to assume that your character has proficiency in it. There's all sorts of different ways you can get proficiency in certain weapons, either from race or equipment, but I didn't want this ranking to be gear dependent, which there might be some weapons out there that are build or gear dependent, and I wanted to look away at that. I wanted to see what it is that the weapon has to offer in its abilities and such. I'm gonna do it weapons by class, so I'll compare the longbows with the longbows, the hammers with the hammers. I didn't want to do like hammers with swords, for example. Maybe somewhere down the line I'll make a change, do something like that. There might be some spoilers and weapon location, and I love Baldur's Gate 3. I'm sure plenty of people love Baldur's Gate 3 too. I personally recommend going in blind as you possibly can, getting a feel for the story. So if you haven't completed the game, I recommend clicking off, going away, coming back sometime later, and then going through, sitting down with me, seeing what my personal opinion is. And finally, anything and everything is viable. The game isn't so immensely difficult that you can't decide to do whatever it is that you think is fun. So play how you want to. This is simply my opinion on what I think is best, because while something may be a D or C tier weapon, it could still work. You can pick it up as soon as you possibly can and go through the entire game, mess around with it, and have fun. So let's get into it. I'll start with the uncommons, work my way up to the legendaries. 6 different weapons here. So first up, we have the Spell Thief. The Spell Thief we're putting right here at the bottom of C tier. It is a simple longbow. Once per short rest on a crit, you can regain a first level spell slot. Really simple. It's not too terrible. Spells are definitely very versatile, very helpful. You can do all sorts of things with sleep. You can really affect the battlefield with a grease. There's so much versatility you have with this, but the problem is that you only get that on a crit, and it's a spent spell slot that you get back. So if you get a couple of crits, you haven't used any spells, you're kind of really not getting the benefits for what this weapon has to bring. It's not a +1, it's a generic. Actually, let me confirm that real quick. Yeah, that's correct. It's not a +1, so you don't get any bonuses when using it. Yeah, simple, sweet. It is in Act 1. You can pick it up really quick. It's on the first vendor that most anybody will come across, right in the Druid's Grove. So it's an upgrade from any of the short bows if you're looking for pure raw damage, especially in the very beginning. But yeah. Up next, we have the Hell Rider. This is a very interesting longbow that I could not find in my original playthroughs, but it is hidden away in Act 2 on a vendor, so I can't quite tell you where exactly you could find this, but this one we're tossing up at A tier. This one has it's a +1 magic weapon, really nice, so you're going to get some bonuses to your attacks and your damage. It has +3 on initiative rolls, so for people who are coming off of D&D, a tabletop edition, and jumping into Baldur's Gate 3, initiative is not determined with a D20 roll, it's determined with a D4. So a +3 to your initiative roll is massive. That's like a +15 on a D20 if you wanted to do a raw comparison. So your chances of going first with a +3 on initiative plus your dexterity mod, wow, that just takes the cake there. You also couple with the advantage on perception checks as well. So as you're going through and doing dialogue checks, you're gonna hit different checks a lot easier. advantage, beautiful. You wouldn't need to use enhanced ability for something like that. You could save that spell slot. You also have once per turn a chance to inflict Fairy Fire, which is a really nice assisting weapon for the rest of your group in the combat encounter. You kind of can't go wrong with that. It is in Act 2, so you won't get it right off the bat. There's a handful of these that you'll grab in Act 1, actually. But, yeah, it's solid. Go first. Win faster, as opposed to win more. Then, eventually, if you're hitting and you're lucky to get those Fairy Fires off, you're winning more. Now, for the rares, we have two more. We have let's do the Titan String Bow first. We're going to put this one right up into B tier. Titan Bowstring is really, really simple. It's a +1 rare longbow. You find it in Act 1. You do have to do the Zenitarum, Snake People Underground Black Market quest, where you deliver the chest back to the group in the hideout at Wakim's Rest. There you'll be able to buy it off of the merchant that's there, whose name is totally not forgetting me right now. I have it memorized. Pinky promise. Now, this one is, like I said, rather simple. On top of it being a +1 bow, having a better chance to hit, better chance to deal more damage, it'll do extra damage equal to your strength mod. And while I did say that we're trying to look at this as blank sheet of paper as possible, most people will probably pick up longbows and then use them on dex builds, and they may be looking at a dump strength. Now, this can definitely help out on fighters that have decent dexterities. Keep in mind, in order to hit, you'll be using your dexterity mod with the longbows, but the extra damage on top, it's nice. It doesn't really add too much. It's bland, simple. You can't go wrong using it. Like I said, it's a +1, but it's nothing extravagant. Actually, it's debatable that one could make an argument and convince me that Spell Thief is better than Titan String. Titan String will kill faster than Spell Thief, but I digress. We'll move on to the Jolt Shooter. This is a favorite weapon of mine. I remember the first time I picked this one up, I've used it all the way up until endgame. So, personal favorites aside, we're putting the Jolt Shooter up at A tier alongside the Hell Rider. Simply put, every time you deal damage, you get a lightning charge. It's not a +1, so you don't have the bonus to attack until you hit. Once you start stacking up lightning charges, you're going to get a +1 to your attack roll, and you're also going to deal additional lightning damage on top of that. And as soon as you hit 5, the 5 are consumed on your next attack. You then deal 1d8 lightning damage. So you're dealing additional damage over time. You are getting +1 to your attack rolls. You do have to hit at first, but it starts stacking up. You start getting more bonuses to your attack roll, dealing some extra lightning damage on top of that. On a character, you'll see like fluctuating hit percentages as you stack up the lightning charges. You lose them as you can over time. You lose 1 per turn. You lose them when you consume 5 charges. So it's still pretty solid. And personally, I err on the side of being able to hit. Bonuses to damage are nice, but plus X bonus to damage is worthless if you don't hit at all. So being able to stack up several charges and increase your chance to hit, that makes it so much more wonderful, phenomenal. You'll do more damage the more that you hit. Pretty much what I'm trying to get at. So now we're going to move on to the very rare. There's only one, the Deadshot. Deadshot is also a really nice weapon. Let's see here. It is... Oh, Titan String, I don't know if I mentioned, that's Act 1. Jolt Shooter is also Act 1. It's a reward for the quest saving Chancellor Floric up at Wakim's Rest. So, relatively close areas. Relatively close area for both of those two bows. But like I said, up next we have the Deadshot. We're going to toss this bad boy right up to S tier. If you pick up the weapon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't get it till Act 3. You have to purchase it. It is a +2 longbow. it will reduce your crit chance by 1. So you go from having a 5% chance to now a 10% chance. And this stack will affect all of your gear. So you can toss it on you and then not use it for archery purposes. You can go straight to sword and board or longsword. I don't believe it affects spell attack rolls. Not entirely sure there. But as I said before, I'm a huge fan of being able to hit, because when you hit, you deal more damage. This increases your chance to automatically hit by 5%. More if you are gearing towards a crit reduction build, or if you're doing like a champion fighter, for example. But build specifics aside, the next bit that I really love about this is you use double your proficiency bonus when rolling range attacks, unless you have disadvantage. So I would say about 2/3 of the time, maybe a little bit less as you're going through and playing and such. At character level 12, your proficiency bonus is +4. So you already use that +4 when attacking. You get the +2 for attacking. So just at character level 12, you have a +10, which means that you will always hit any armor class that is 12 or below when you roll it to. You naturally miss out on 1. So if you also combine the archery fighting style, that's going to make an automatic hit on any armor class that is 14 or below on a 2. Keep in mind that the average roll on a d20 is 10. So even without archery fighting style, you're looking at about always hitting on AC, or I shouldn't say that. On average, you should hit AC 20 or below, as long as you don't have disadvantage. So the chances of you hitting is typically pretty high. Pretty much always hitting. And as I said before, you do more damage when you hit. It's a great weapon, all in all. It's kind of vanilla. The juiciest bit, personally, is the crit reduction by 1. But yeah, just you can't go wrong. Finally, we have the legendary, and that's S tier. It's S tier. It's far beyond any of the other weapons. At first, I didn't think too much about it, but then the more I looked at it, the more it really grew on me. It's in Act 3. You have to beat the boss at the Steel Watch Foundry, all at the end. It is a +3 weapon. On hit, you have a chance to inflict the Guiding Bolt condition every turn, every time you hit. Now, so the next attack roll against that is made with advantage if they fail to save. It's glowing, which is a really nice flavor thing that a lot of the legendaries tend to have. It's not a super big, it's a nice flare. Then you have, we'll save the best for last. You get a once per short rest unique attack, Bowl of Celestial Light. You threaten your target for 2 turns. You deal 1d8 radiant damage, and then deal an additional 1d4 radiant damage on subsequent turns. It's really nice. There is a downside to radiant damage when you're going up against Raphael and certain select fiends in the late game, but you can circumvent that in different ways. Now the best part, this is what makes that one short bow super juicy. Once per long rest, haste, free access to haste once per long rest. It lasts for 5 turns. I think haste is generally 3, but semantics. You do not suffer the lethargic debuff. So hands down, that's utterly phenomenal. A short bow that people tend to pick up in Act 2 for builds for boss killing in single turns. You do get this in Act 3, which is a lot later, but this makes for a wonderful replacement for that haste. And I mean, you could even really just keep it on and then use it on dex builds and such. There's nothing wrong with using both or alternating back and forth. But that is the tier list. Feel free to drop into the comments and let me know how you feel. If you're interested in seeing some more tier lists coming your way, then hit that subscribe button. If you learned, liked anything, drop a like. If you didn't like the video, drop a dislike, and let me know where you stand, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.